Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, we are going to do a counting question from paper 2, variant 23, May-June 2018, question 3 based on rectification of errors. In the third question, it is stated that David, a sole trader, has prepared a trial balance at 31st December 2017, which did not balance. He entered the difference in the suspense account. In the A bit of the question, we are asked to state two other uses of suspense account. You see, when we make the trial balance, we will mention some of the accounts on the debit side, like assets, fixed assets, current assets, expenses, sales return, which is also called as return inwards, drawings, and so on. All these balances are mentioned in the debit balance column, and there may be some credit balances like income, long-term liabilities, current liabilities, capital, purchase return, or return outwards. These all are mentioned on the credit side. So it may happen that something may be missed, like rent may be missed or written inwards may be missed when recording the entry, and all the credit balances may be right. So because of this, there may be a deficit, or the amount on the debit side may be less than the credit balance. Say the credit balance is 10,000 and the debit balance is 9,000. So there is a difference of 1,000. This will be mentioned in the suspense account for time being till the time the error is rectified, and we will proceed further to make the financial statement. However, this may be used in other ways as well, like if a bookkeeper do not know where to post an entry. Like suppose we are solving the question paper and we don't know our answer for a specific question. What we will do, we will mention the question number, the variant name, and we will proceed further, and then later on we can come and rectify it. In the same way, suppose a big bookkeeper is recording all the entries and he don't know where he have to post a specific entry. So for time being, he can open up a suspense account and post the entry in the suspense account, so that later on he can come back and rectify it. And the other use is, say in business it happens sometimes they need to take different decisions, like in the middle of the year they need to take a financial decision based on the sales. So what they can do is they can draft the financial statements. These are not the actual or the annual financial statement, these are temporary financial statements which are drafted for specific decisions. So what can be done is, because during that time the ledgers may not have been closed, and as the ledgers are not closed, the balances may not be accurate, so the debit and the credit balance may show some difference. So for the purpose of making the draft financial statement, we can post the difference in the suspense account and proceed further. Later on, this can be corrected when the annual financial statements are made. So these are the different uses of the suspense account. In the B bit of the question, we are asked to state four types of errors that will not be revealed by the trial balance. You just need to state the errors, but I have explained the errors as well so that you can understand in a better way. So first is the error of omission. It occurs when the transaction is completely omitted. That is, it is not at all recorded in the books of account. I've given an example here where the goods was purchased from Mr. X. So Mr. X is the credit supplier, but the invoice was lost, and because of this, it was not recorded. You see, whenever we purchase on credit, we mention it in the purchase day book, which is the book of the prime entry or the book of original entry, and it will be mentioned with the name of the supplier, and this was not done. So from the beginning itself, this was not recorded. So in this trial balance, what happened is we will mention the purchase and the trade payable for this type of entry when we have purchased the goods on credit. However, as it is not recorded, purchases was omitted as well as the trade payable, both of them was omitted. That is, the debit balance was omitted as well as the credit balance was omitted. So naturally, as both the side has been omitted, the total balance of the trial balance will tally. They will not show any deficit on the debit side or the credit side, and because of this, this error will not be revealed when we make the trial balance. The second error is the error of original entry. It occurs when the transaction is wrongly recorded in the prime book. Prime book is the book of original entry, and when we recorded this transaction in the book of original entry, that is, we have recorded this transaction for the first time, and when an error is done during this time, it may not be located when we make the trial balance. I have explained this with an example here where the goods have been purchased from Mr. X and the invoice is of $100, and when it was recorded as $1,000. That is, an additional zero was mentioned in the purchase day book, and as the purchase day book will be the place where we record the transaction for the first time, the error may proceed to the other books of account. That is, we may record the same thing in the ledger as well, because we have not located this error, because the invoice may not have been located or Mr. X may not have demanded the money, and still we think that we owe Mr. X $1,000. So from this ledger we will make the trial balance, and in the trial balance we will record purchases as 1,000 and the trade payable as 1,000. As both debit and credit side has the wrong amount, but they are for the same value, that is, it is 1,000 on the debit side and 1,000 on the credit side. No doubt this amount is wrong, but as this tallies our debit balance and the credit balance, hence we may not locate this error when we make the trial balance. This will be located only at the time of the payment to Mr. X, or if the invoice is located. As a third error, I have mentioned the error of commission. It occurs when a correct amount is entered on the correct side of an incorrect account of the same class. Example, interest paid of 250 was debited to rent paid account. You see, rent paid and interest paid belong to the same class, that is revenue expenses. And for revenue expense, we debit the account. So we have debited the rent account with the right amount of $250. However, this do not belong to the rent account. This transaction need to be posted in the interest account, and which was not done, and this was the error of commission. So when we proceed further and make the trial balance, we will mention this 250 in the debit column, which is rightly done, and the amount is also rightly posted. So when we tally the trial balance, it will tally both debit and credit will have the same balance, as the error is not done in the debit column or the credit column. The error is done when we have mentioned the name of the account, which is, we have mentioned the name of the account as rent instead of interest, and this is the error. However, as the trial balance tally, we may not reveal this error when we make the trial balance. Lastly, we have error of principal. It occurs when a transaction is posted in the wrong class of account. Example, the building repairs of $1,000 was posted to the building account. You see, building account is a capital expenditure account and repairs are the revenue expenditure account. These are of two different classes, and based on our accounting principles, we have to make sure that the capital expenditure and the revenue expenditure are rightly posted and they should not be mixed up. However, when we have posted this amount in the building account as 1,000 on the debit side, the amount is right and it is rightly posted on the debit side, but the class of account is different, hence it is called as the error of principal. This amount should be posted in the repairs account, that is 1,000 on the debit side of the repair account, and it should be a revenue expenditure. So when we proceed further and make the trial balance, in the trial balance we have rightly mentioned the amount because it has to be mentioned in the debit column, and the amount is 1,000, which is rightly done. So when we tally the trial balance at the end, we will get the right balance of the debit and the credit, and both of them will be tallied. However, when we have mentioned the name of account, we have mentioned it as buildings instead of repairs, which is wrong, and because of this there is an error of principal which will not be revealed when we make the trial balance. Furthermore, additional information is provided. On checking the financial record, David discovered the following errors. First, the credit balance on the bank current account of 1,650 have been entered in the trial balance as debit balance. Second, the total of purchase return journal of 960 have been debited to return inwards account. Third, a prepayment of 450 for telephone charges at 1st January 2017 has not been brought down as an opening balance. Fourth, the balance on the sales ledger control account at 31st December 2017 of 13,600 $25 have been carried down as $13,652. In the C bit of the question, we are required to prepare the suspense account at 31st December 2017, clearly showing the opening balance on the account. So first what we will do is we will analyze all these errors and then we will make the suspense account. So let's start with the first error. The first error states that the credit balance on the bank current account of 1,650 have been entered as the debit balance in the trial balance. So what we did is we have entered this as debit balance in the trial balance. So this was not the amount which was required in the debit balance, and as we have entered, this will lead to a deficit of $1,650 because you need to cancel this amount, and this amount was actually required to be placed on the credit side and it was not done. As it was not done, again there will be a further deficit of $1,650. So because of this error, there will be a deficit of $3,300 when you make the trial balance. So you will post this in the suspense account. So this was the amount which you posted when you had this error. Now you want to rectify this error. So what you have to do, you have to cancel this credit amount which was mentioned when there was an error. To cancel this, what you will do, you will debit the suspense account with the same amount. That is, you will debit the suspense account with $3,300. So now when you rectify it and you make the suspense account, you will mention $3,300 as the debit balance. There you will mention bank 3,300 for rectifying this error. The second error states that the total of purchase return journal of 960 have been debited to return inwards account. So this return inwards, which is your sales return, have been mentioned as 960, and whereas the actual entry should be for purchase return, and for purchase return we credit the amount, whereas for return inwards, that is sales return, you debit the amount. But the account which we have used here as return inwards is a wrong account, as we have debited the wrong account and we have mentioned 960 here. So what happens because of this error? There will be, because you have increased the debit, there will be a deficit on the credit side of 960, and furthermore the amount which was required to be recorded, that is the purchase return, which is recorded on the credit side and has not been recorded. Because of this, there will be a deficit of 960 more on the credit side. And because of this error, what you have done is you have posted 960 twice on the credit side when you made the trial balance, because it has not tallied and you have mentioned this amount in the suspense account. Now when you have to rectify it, as you have credited these balances, you will debit these balances. However, here two different accounts are involved, that is return inwards and the purchase return account. So what we will do, we will debit the suspense account with return inwards 960 and then purchase return 960 to rectify this error. Furthermore, it is stated that in the third error, a prepayment of $450 for telephone charges at 1st January 2017 has not been brought down as an opening balance. So when we are making the accounts for 2017, it means that this amount, that is 450, is the expense of our telephone charges during this period. However, we have prepaid it in 2016, and as this is an expense, where we will mention this when we make the trial balance, this was required to be mentioned on the debit side, and you have the bookkeeper have not mentioned this amount on the debit side. So when the bookkeeper have not mentioned this amount on the debit side, what happens is the debit side will show a deficit of $450, and because of this error, you will open up a suspense account and mention this 450 on the debit side when there is an error. And now when you have to rectify it, what we will do is we will mention it on the credit side to cancel this amount. So when we make the suspense account, it will be 450 credit with the name of telephone account. So that will be the entry when we make the suspense account. Next, we have a balance on sales ledger control account at 31st December 2017 of 13,625 have been carried down as $13,652. So the sales ledger control account balance. What will be this balance? This will be your trade receivable. And when you mention this in the trial balance, what you will do, where you will mention your trade receivable, you will mention it on the debit side. And what amount you will mention it on the debit side? It should be 13,625, where you have mentioned $13,652. So there is a overcasting of $27. That is, you have increased your debit by $27. So when you had this error, what you did is there was a deficit on the credit side with $27. So because of this error, the credit side, we have mentioned suspense account $27. Now when we have to rectify this, we will cancel this. So what we will do is on the debit side, we will mention this $27 stating sales ledger control account. On the debit side with the amount $27, we will rectify this error when we make the suspense account. Now what we will do is we'll see the credit balances of suspense account. When there was an error, it was $3,300 plus $960 plus $960 plus $27, which was $5,247. And on the debit side, the amount was $450. So when we subtract $5,247 minus $450, we get the opening balance on the suspense account as $4,797. Now as we have analyzed all the information, let's make the suspense account. So in the suspense account, we will mention the bank, which was the first entry, as debit balance, bank $3,300 to rectify this. Then purchase return $960 on the debit side to rectify it. Return inwards $960 again on the debit side to rectify the credit balance. Then the sales ledger control account $27, which was credited when there was an error. Now we are debiting it to rectify it. Then we will start with the opening balance. That is, we have calculated here as $4,797, and the telephone charges, which was debited when there was an error, and now we are crediting it as $450 to rectify this. And if you have not done this calculation, what you can do is you can write all the debit side balances and total it up as $5,247. From there you subtract $450, you will get the balancing figure as $4,797 as your opening balance, and then balance both the side, that is total both the side. At the end, as all the errors have been rectified, there will not be any closing balance for suspense account. Now in the last bit of the question, we are asked to state 3 benefits to a business of preparing the annual financial statement. You see, when we make the annual financial statement, we make the income statement and the statement of financial position. So based on this, we will know that what targets we have achieved and how well we have planned our financial year. So when we know that what we have achieved, based on this we can also plan the future targets as well as the future goals, and thus it helps in planning as well as to organize the resources which are required to achieve your future targets. Furthermore, as we have seen that in our financial statement, we have the income statement as well as the statement of financial position. This helps us to analyze when we go for ratio analysis or comparative analysis. With ratio analysis, this helps us to make decisions, that is how the expenses should be reduced or what loans or long-term liabilities can be taken. So we can make the decisions based on analyzing our annual financial statement. With that, we can reduce our expenses or apply for more long-term liabilities. And we can also, with comparative analysis, we can compare the financial statement of our company with our competitors in the same firm. So it is also a means by which we can go for comparison and analyze our performance. And you see, when we make the statement of financial position, we will come to know about the valuation of assets, liabilities and capital. So this is also a means to analyze our position. And furthermore, we use the annual financial statements for tax purposes, because tax is paid on the basis of annual financial statement, and it is also used to present the documents. If you require more long-term liabilities or you want a long-term loan from bank, what we have to do is we have to submit our annual financial statements for the purpose of the loan, so it can be used to present to bank for additional finances. So with this we have completed this question. Thanks for watching my videos and have a great life.